Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. We were looking at the Kahola Brahmanam, which has only one Vakya, but very, very important Upanishad Vakya. Here, the Atma Vidya, along with Sannyasa as a sadhana, is given for moksha. So that's how Bhashyakara also introduced this Brahmana. So in this already we saw in the last class, there was initially one discussion whether the question which is asked here is about another Atma. That is, the first question is about Jiva Atma, this question is about Paramatma, or both are about the same Atma. This was settled by Bhashyakara very clearly, showing that both the questions are about the Atma alone. But since this Atma Vidya itself is Sukshma, subtle, and since the questioner wanted to know more, the same Atma is being questioned again and again, about which, okay. So there is no dosha in that. So this Bhashyakara already explained. And then we saw last time how this Atma, which is here presented as free from hunger, thirst, etc. Correct? Brahman, Atman is presented as something which is free from all the samsara dharma, all the things which we think are a problem for us. It is already free. That's how it is presented, but it is also having all these things. But that is the experience of people, correct? I am hungry, I am thirsty and all that. So is it not a contradiction? So this question was asked. This is a very standard question against Advaita anyway. So this Bhashyakara answered this, pointing out to the Upadhi that all the differences you see here are all Upadhi Krita. But then there was another question asked, by accepting a Upadhi, are you not going against statements like Ekameva Advitiyam Neha Nanasti Kinchana? So you can see here, this also we discussed in detail last time. Nama Rupa Upadhi Asti Tatve Ekameva Advitiyam Neha Nanasti Kinchana iti Shruteyaha Viruddhyeran iti Chet. So this also was asked. But what Bhashyakara said is, the Nama Rupa is not independently existent. It is all Mithya only. Upadhi is also equally Mithya. So it doesn't affect the Satyam in any manner. So by accepting Upadhi, we do not have any Advaita Hani. So this was also clearly explained here. Like even the foam in the water or the wave of the water does not affect the water in any way. They are all only names and forms. They are not a second vastu. Names and forms are not really a substance or an object. And the entire world is only name and forms. It's all only Vacharambanam, Vikaro, Namadheyam, like that. Chandogya also is teaching the same thing. So they do not exist really. And also then what about this perception of duality and people taking this world as real and doing vyavahara in that means? This also Bhashyakara then explained in detail that the Jnani's drishti is different from the Ajnani's drishti. The Jnani goes by whatever the Shruti is revealing, and Shruti is revealing the oneness behind the apparent appearance of multiplicity of names and forms. And that's what a Jnani sees. But the Ajnanis do not see that, and they only see the multiplicity of names and forms, different means and ends, and they are going after these means and ends. And these, again, this different vision based on knowledge and ignorance do not have any contradiction in themselves. They are two different standpoints of the same reality. There is only one reality. The jnanis are seeing the reality, ajnanis are not seeing the reality, and because of which they are having a certain transactional existence, you can say, in a transactional world. And there is no contradiction between the two. Both can exist. That is the point here. So I think we saw up to this tena na kaschid virodha. So paramarthavadibistu shruti anusarena nirupyamane vastuni kim tatvatah asti vastu kim va nasti iti brahma ekameva advitiyam sarva vyavahara shunyam iti nirdharyate. So the jnanis understand very clearly, those who know the tattva, the reality, what really exists, what does not exist, they are very clear about what is satyam, what is mithya, and only Brahman alone exists, which is non-dual, which is one and only and non-dual. And in that Brahman, there is no vyavahara. It is sarva samvyavahara shunyam. Like that, they determine, they have nischaya jnanam, they have clear knowledge about that. And by that nischaya, again, there is no virodha with reference to what the ajnanis are perceiving. Okay. So that also he explains here. Nahi paramartha avadharana nishtayam vastu antara astitvam pratipadyamahe ekameva advitiyam anantaram abahyam iti shrutehe. Nacha nama rupa vyavahara kale tu avivekinam kriyakaraka phaladi samvyavaharaha nasti iti pratishidhyate. So this is where Bhashyakara is explaining the two, finally summarizing this, the two different drishtis. So the those who have understood the paramartha, the ultimate reality, okay, paramartha avadharana nishtaya. So those who are in the you can say established in the knowledge, okay, they have determined, they have ascertained what is the ultimate reality, and they are established in that. They do not see any other vastu. They see only oneness of Brahman, Atma. There is no second thing. Ekameva advitiyam, Brahma alone is the reality, that alone is Satyam. And it itself is Anantaram, Abhahyam and all that. That means what? There is nothing inner than that, or there is nothing outside that. In fact, it is basically by saying Anantaram, Abhahyam and all that, it transcends space-time itself. That is what the understanding is. Space-time is in this Brahman as an appearance. It's all only name and form. Brahman alone is the only vastu which is there. So based on this Shruti revelation, they are very clear about that. And those who do not know that, and those who are avivekis, they have not done the analysis, they do not know the reality. They don't have the viveka jnanam. Discriminatory knowledge is not there. So those who lack this discrimination, and they are just going in the transactional world, which is made up of names and forms, correct? Nyama rupa vyavahara kali. So when they are in this transactional world, and they are doing kriya karaka phaladi samvyavaharaha. So what they are doing is, they are just doing all these transactions. They are engaged in all these activities because they want the results of action, and for that they have to take care of all the factors of action also. So based on that, their endeavors are happening. We do not deny that. Nasti iti pratisiddhyate. Nasti iti na pratisiddhyate. It is double negative, you have to understand. We do not negate for the ajnani that it is not there. Only for the jnani it is not there. For the ajnani it is there. In fact, our Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan even says in the 4th chapter, I think, do not confuse the, or 3rd chapter or 4th. So do not confuse the ajnanis. So nahi na buddhi bedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani. Vidwan Yukta Samacharan, like that. There is a Gita verse also is there. So we do, those who are ajnanis, you cannot, those who are not even interested in knowing Vedanta, you cannot go and teach them, correct? Or you don't want to go and talk Vedanta and confuse them also. They will only become like this, what we call Varattu Vedanta in Tamil, or they are just giving excuses. Lazy people start giving excuse. Why you did not do something means it's all Maya. Anybody can say that. So it's not like that. Okay, it is not for that purpose also. So we do not negate. For the Ajnani, we do not say that it is not there. The Vyavahara is very much there. In fact, Shruti itself is addressing the Ajnanis only. All the karma vidhi, all the vidhi, nishedha vakyas in the Shruti are only directed towards the Ajnanis. So that we do not negate, or we do not think we need to negate it, in fact, because we accept that there are two different standpoints, visions. Therefore, what tasmat jnana ajnane apekshya sarvaha samvyavaharaha shastriyaha laukikascha. So all the activities, whether it is worldly activities or Vaidika activities, correct, whatever is mandated by the Shastra, all these vyavahara, all these activities, transactional dealings, whatever you can say, all of them are only with reference to whether you are a jnani or a ajnani. For a jnani, none of them matters, or none of them even applies. It applies very much for the ajnanis. So based on the jnana drishti or ajnana drishti only, all the shastriya and laukika vyavahara are there. So ataha na kachana virodha shanka. So there should not be any more this doubt whether there is any contradiction between these two things. So do not have any doubt about that. And in fact, what Bhashyakara says here is very interesting. This is also true. Sarva vadinamapi apariharyaha paramartha samvyavahara kritaha vyavaharaha. So this, there is a paramartha drishti or a moksha. Everybody has to talk about moksha, correct? All Indian darshanas, or at least all Astika darshana, they talk about a samsara dasha, correct? State of being in samsara or bondage, and a state of freedom. But how do they talk about the freedom and all is different. Most of the Dvaitis, anybody other than Advaiti is a Dvaiti really, whatever they may name themselves. All these Dvaitis are talking about going to some loka and all that, correct? It's all only tourism promotion, as my Guruji used to say. So, but they also talk about a jnana avastha or a mukta avastha, where there is no samsara. So they are also differentiating between the ajnani, one who is in bondage, and a jnani, and a mukta purusha. So this has to be done by everybody. Sarvavadinam api apariharya means what? For everybody, this has to be done. Nobody can sidestep that. Everybody has to talk about samsara, moksha, and what is the characteristics of samsara, what are the characteristics of moksha, how it is different. So this has to be done by everybody. We are also doing the same thing. So there is nothing special here. Okay. Now Bhashyakara goes into the actual Upanishad Vakya and starts giving the commentary here. Tatra Paramartha Atma Swarupam Apekshya Prashnaha Punaha. So the Prashna, our Kahola asks, Katamaha Yajnavalkyaha Sarvantaraha. He asks again. So Bhashyakara is going to that Prashna here. Katamaha Yajnavalkya Sarvantaraha iti Prashnaha Punaha. It is the same Prashna which previously was asked in the Ushasta Brahmana. So for this what? So which is this Atma means what? No, actually Yajnavalkya gives a different answer. He gives some more details, you can say. So Pratyaha Itaraha is Yajnavalkya here. He replied to him, what? Yaha Ashanaya Pipase. So Ashanaya Pipase. Now Bhashyakara takes these two words. In fact, it is a compound word, and it is in dual case. That's why it is Ashanaya Pipase, like that. Now Ashanaya means what? Ashitum Icha Ashanaya. So the desire to eat is ashanaya. And pipasa is patumicha, the desire to drink. Means basically it is hunger and thirst. And these two, te ashanaya pipase, means he is now compounding it in dual case. Yaha atyeti, the one which transcends, goes beyond it. Means it's already transcended. Atma is already free of hunger, thirst, etc. Okay, how it is free and all, vaksyamanena sambandha, it will be talked about in the immediate future. It will be described how it transcends, but the one which is transcending this hunger and thirst is this Atma. Okay, the sambandha is to be, the connection will be talked about. Now, Bhashyakara explains this again because already it was asked question, correct? How can you say the same Atma is not having any hunger and thirst, but then hunger and thirst also is there and all that? So the explanation is given here. Aviveki bihi talamalavat iva gaganam gamyamanam eva talamale atyeti paramarthataha tabhyam asamsrishta swabhavatvat tata mudaihi ashanaya pipasadimat brahma gamyamanamapi क्षुदितः aham pipasitah aham iti te atyeti eva paramarthatah tabhyam asamsrishta swabhavatvat. Okay, so now Bhashyakara again takes the analogy of the sky. Sky, normal people or even children who do not have discriminatory knowledge may think that sky is like a concave dome, correct? Really something is there in the sky and it is having a color of blue, etc. Or it is having some dirty gray color, etc. Okay. So the Gaganam space does not have any of these qualities really, but it is perceived in that manner. Okay, even while you are perceiving that, it transcends all these qualities, correct? It doesn't have any, there is nothing there. There is no concave structure or anything. And there is no color or there is no any, nothing touches the space really. So, tabhyam asamsprishtatva, asamsprishta swabhavatvat. In fact, the space cannot be touched by anything. It is not touched by any of these things. But still what? Those who are aviveki bihi, those who do not have the discriminatory knowledge, may take the space to have all these qualities. Similarly, tatha mudaihi, by the ones who are deluded, ashanaya pipasadimat brahma gamyamanam api, even though they think that Brahman or Atma has hunger and thirst, etc., even though they perceive like that, gamyamanam api, even though they get it like that, and also they have all this experience, then shuditaha aham, pipasitaha aham, so I am hungry, I am thirsty, etc. Te atyeti eva, but even when you have all these experience, really Brahman, Atma transcends all these things. It is free from hunger and thirst in reality. Okay, paramarthataha. So in reality, what? Tabhyam asamsprita swabhavatva. Brahman is not touched by hunger or thirst or all these bodily dharma, you can say, qualities. And how do you know? Means again Shruti also is there. Na lipyate loka dukkhena bhashyaha. So the Kathopanishad Bhashyakara is quoting here. This Brahman Atma is not touched by the grief in the loka. Loka dukkhena na lipyate. It is in fact outside that, it is beyond that, it transcends that, it is bhashyaha from all these things. So Shruti also is there. Therefore, what? Avidvat loka adhyaropita dukkhena ityarthaha. So here this loka dukkha means what? Loka means here the worldly, you can say, but worldly people also, those who are avidvans, those who are not knowledgeable, and they have superimposed this grief on themselves. So avidyaval loka adhyaropita dukkhena bhashyaha na lipyate, all these things. So loka dukkhena means Bhashyakara gives here meaning for that also. And Brahman is beyond all that. Okay, then what? This Ashanaya and Pipasa, they are all qualities of prana. So he says that prana eka dharmatvat samasa karanam ashanaya pipasayoho. Okay, why they are even compounded? Bhashyakara gives explanation for that also. He says because both of them are qualities of prana, they are talked about together in the form of a compound word. Okay. And then shokam, moham, they are not compounded. Okay. They are asamasa padam. It is separate here. Ashanaya pipase, then shokam, moham, separately it is talked about. So he is also taking, what is this shoka? Shoka iti kamaha. Grief is nothing but desire, Bhashyakara says. Why? Because desire only becomes grief finally, correct? ध्यायते विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषूपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. This is all Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, where Bhagavan actually shows the whole progression beautifully from a casual association in your mind, because mind itself is associative, right? It's thinking of many different things, associated things, but then you take fancy to something, and then from there it becomes a desire, and if the desire is not fulfilled, it becomes a grief. Or even before getting fulfilled also, Bhashyakara says here, it's beautiful. He says that as soon as you have a desire for something, there is a tinge of sorrow there, because you are not having it now, correct? That hankering after something itself, longing for something itself is a pain. Okay, that itself is a shoka only. So he says that, see, shokaha iti kamaha, ishtam vastu uddishya, chintayataha yat aramanam, he says. So as soon as you think about something which you want, means you are already a wanting person, correct? You have become a wanting person, you think without that you cannot be happy, means that is aramanam. Aramanam means what? You are not enjoying yourself. You are already in some sort of a discomfort, you can say, at least minimum. And that is the what is that? That discomfort itself is what? Tat Trishna Abhibhutasya Kama Bijam. That is the seed of the desire. Okay, which is again, which will become longing, and which is again going to become, if it is not, you then have to work for it. That is all pain again, correct? And if it is not fulfilled, then you get angry, you have pain, you have sorrow, etc. So Bhashyakara explains that here. And therefore what? That kama bija, once it is there, tena hi kamaha deepyate. The desire flares up from there only. It is kindled by this only. So the desire itself is shoka. Bhashyakara explains here. Then tena hi kamaha deepyate. Okay, that we have seen. Then what? Mohastu viparita pratyaya prabhavaha avivekaha brahmaha. And moha is what? Moha is delusion. It is viparita pratyaya means wrong cognition, erroneous cognition. So it is born out of erroneous cognition, projection, and also not discriminating. That an erroneous cognition, if you know that it is erroneous cognition, it is fine still, correct? But that discrimination also is not there, means then you are deluded, brahmaha. You are only hallucinating, you can say, you are deluded. And that is what? Sacha avidya, that is also ignorance, in fact. Sarvasya anarthasya prasava bijam. And it is the seed of all the anartha, means undesirable things. Undesirable things means basically Bhashyakara is using a very, let us say, soft word here. But anyway, all the anartha, all the things which are causing us trouble, the bija is what? This delusion. Not having discriminatory knowledge, not knowing what is true, what is false, and taking the false as true. And again, these two are not compounded. They are talked about separately. Why? He is giving a reason for that. Binna karyatva tayoho shoka mohayoho Asamasa karanam, he says. So the shoka and moha produce different results, different types of results. Okay. So therefore, they are not compounded, they are talked about separately. But both of them are again centered on your mind only. So he is saying that now. Tau manaha adhikaranau. So both of them, the shoka and moha, are having the mind as their adhikarana, as their locus. Then, so prana qualities we saw, hunger and thirst. Mind qualities, shoka and moha. Then physical body now. Tatha sharira adhikaranau jaram mrityuncha atyeti. And Atma again transcends the shoka and moha, and also jara and mrityu. Jara is old age, mrityu is death. And Atma transcends those also which are centered on your body, the physical body. And what is jara? He explains that also. Jara iti karya karana sanghata viparinamaha. So it is the modification of your karya karana sanghata, the body mind sense complex itself is undergoing modification all the time. When you are born, you are a child, and constantly it is undergoing modification every second. That itself is old age, and also it is again indicated by what? Vali palitadi lingaha. So it is having all these linga, the marks. What are the marks? You have wrinkles and you have gray hair. Gray hair I have a lot, not wrinkles yet. But okay, all these things are all jara, physical body. It is all only the marks of physical body, indications in the physical body for jara. And then what? Mrityuhi iti tad vichhedaha. The physical body itself is getting destroyed, means it is death or it falls off. Vichheda means it is injured, it falls off, it is destroyed. All this meaning we can take. So the destruction of the physical body itself is the marana or mrityu. And viparinama avasana, that means it is the end of the changes which are happening. Okay, it is the final change, you can say. So that is death. And tau jara mrityu, again jara mrityu is dual case. Sharira adhikaranau atyeti. So the Atma transcends this jara and mrityu, which are having sharira as the adhikarana, as the locus, the physical body as the locus, the body as the locus. Okay, further what? Ete ashanayadayaha prana manas sharira adhikaranaha pranishu anavaratam vartamanaha ahoratradivat samudra urmi vaccha pranishu samsara iti uchyante. So what is samsara, which this Brahman Atma transcends? So Bhashyakara explains that all these ashanaya, etc. Okay, hunger, thirst, grief, delusion, and old age and death, etc. All these things, and they are all having their locus as the prana, manas, and sharira, and they are there all the time, anavaratam. Okay, in the beings, anavaratam vartamanaha, that which is there always, unceasingly, without any stop. And how? Like even and they are coming, they are there continuously, it is there. Ahoratradivat, like even the day and night are there all the time. Or even the waves of the ocean, samudra urmivat cha. So they are there all the time. And that is what is called, all these things, ashanayadayaha only is called samsara. The samsara is characterized by all these things in the beings. Pranishu samsaraha iti uchyante. Yaha asau drishtehe drashta ityadi lakshanaha साक्षाद अव्यवहितः अपरोक्षाद अगौणः सर्वांतरः आत्मा ब्रह्मादि स्तंभ पर्यंतानां भूतानां अशनायादि पिपासादिभिः संसार धर्मैः सदा न स्पृश्यते आकाश इव घनादि मलैः तम एतं वे आत्मानं स्वं तत्त्वं विदित्वा ज्ञात्वा अयम अहमस्मि परं ब्रह्म सदा सर्व संसार विनिर्मुक्तं Nitya Triptam iti. Okay, now Bhashyakara is talking about the jnanis and also the real nature of Atma. Atma is what? Yaha asau, that which is this. What is that? Drishtehe, drashta, the seer of the sight, etc. Correct? Shrutehe, shrota, the one consciousness which is with to which all these things are becoming evident. Correct? Which is even the seer of the sight, etc. We have seen that. Adi Padat, we have to add other things also. Okay? And which is characterized by all these things, the consciousness. And Sakshad Avyavahitaha. And Sakshad means again it is directly known without the need for any pramana. And Avyavahitaha means what? That which is always there without any break, unbroken. Okay, this consciousness never stops, is unceasing. There is no break in that, unbroken. That is Vyavadhanam or Vyavahitam means that which is separated, broken and all that, divided. And this Atma Chaitanya never stops. Okay, that's why it is Avyavahitaha. And further what? Aparokshad. Again, this Aparoksha also. It is not Pratyaksha, it is not Paroksha, it is Aparoksha. This also we have discussed this. Sakshad, Aparokshad, Brahma. Already we have seen that which is directly known without any intermediary. And Agaunaha, it is again it is not a figuratively talked about, it is the primary sense. Okay, it is in the primary meaning of Atma, and that Atma is there in all the beings. Sarvantaraha Atma means Sarvantaraha means again Bhashyakara explains that very clearly. Brahmadi Stamba Pariyantanam, starting from Brahmaji onwards up to a grass, okay, up to a whatever plant. Bhutanam here means living beings, all the beings. So in all the beings, this is the Atma. There is only one Atma, which is the Atma in all the beings. And what is the nature of that? Ashanaya pipasadibihi samsara dharmahi sadana sprishyate. It is not touched by all these samsara dharmas, the 6 dharmas, which we anyway talked about now. How, like even the Akasha, Ghanadi Malaihi, Iva, that Akasha, the space is not touched by clouds or any other impurity which is there, correct? Nowadays, a lot of pollution is there. So, but the space itself can never be polluted. The air is polluted actually, but not the space. It is untouched. Tam yetam vai atmanam swam tattvam. So, having known this Atma Tattvam, again here Bhashyakara is pointing out, you can see, like by showing that this Sakshad, Aparokshad, Brahma is itself is Atma within everybody. This is a Mahavakya basically, correct? This also, whatever here Yajnavalkya is saying is Mahavakya only, because Sakshad, Aparokshad, Brahma, Yaha Atma Sarvantaraha. This part and all is Mahavakya only, and that is actually free from all this Ashanaya Pipasa, and knowing that Yetam Vai Tam Atmanam Viditva also is there. Knowing this Brahman which is free from all these things as their own Atma, as their self. Again, this is all Mahavakya. It's all identity only. Having known this, what Brahmanaha. So that's what now Bhashyakara will comment on that. Brahmanaha, you can see here. But I have to come down. So, tam yetam vai atmanam swam tattvam, knowing this as their own reality. This Atma is also this Brahman alone. It is free from all these things. Knowing that reality, viditva jnatva, knowing that, having known that what? Ayam aham asmi param brahma. So this param brahma is me. Knowing that very clearly. Sada samsara, sarva samsara vinirmuktam. Also it is always free from all these samsara dharmas. Okay, it is free. It need not become free from hunger and all that. It is already free. That is the vision. It has to be only known. It has to be owned up, appreciated, assimilated. And knowing this, what? Nitya Triptam. They are also always satisfied with themselves. Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha. They don't have to do anything to become happy, because they themselves know that I am the source of all happiness. Correct? Always Triptaha, always satisfied. I don't look upon myself as a wanting person. Then I don't have to do anything to be happy. Correct? I am always Purnaha, complete, whole. I do not lack anything. I am limitless. So this knowledge means you are always satisfied with yourself. You don't look upon yourself as a wanting being. So knowing this Brahman only, Brahmanaha, because they have known the Brahman like this, now they are no more interested in doing any karma. Unless some people may still decide to do like Bhagavan Krishna still says, okay, I don't really have to do anything. I am Kritakrityaha. He says that in so many words. But what? But people want to follow Yadyad acharati shreshtaha tattadeva itaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate and all that. So loka sangrahame vapi sampashyan kartum arhati and all that, he says that. So for the loka sangraha, I am still doing whatever I am doing. I am not doing anything because thinking that by doing this only I am going to be happy. There is nothing like that. I am already Purnaha. I do not lack anything. But still I may be engaged in some activity in the world, but that is all only for Loka Sangraha, for the welfare of the world in general. It is not for my own sake. That way also it is possible. Or people can give up all activities. It is allowed. Shastra itself is allowing you. Because Shastra only mandated that as long as you are alive, you have to do Nitya Karma and all that, correct? But now Shastra itself is giving a way out for the Jnani. Therefore, the Brahmanas, having known this Brahman, they are no more interested in sadhya sadhana. Okay, nothing. They are not interested in means and ends. They don't have to achieve anything. They don't have to do anything to be happy. Therefore, what? They are not interested in any of these things. Now, Brahmanaha meaning Bhashyakara gives here. What is that? Brahmanaha means, so they are the ones who are giving up, correct? Brahmanaha vyuttaya. So they give up. In fact, they turn away, you can say. Vyuttaya means, Bhashyakara says, Vaiparityena Utthanam, he says. They go in the opposite direction, you can say. Okay. Utthanam Kritva. So they are going in a different direction. They are not interested in karma. So they want to give up all karma. But why the people who are giving up all the karma, who are jnanis, are called Brahmanaha, means Bhashyakara here says, Brahmananam eva adhikaraha vyutthane ataha brahmana grahanam, he says. I think here Sureshwaracharya has a different opinion. But according to Bhashyakara, only Brahmanas can really take sannyasa. Because I think he thinks that others cannot take sannyasa. That is said by the Shruti here by using the word Brahmana. But I think Sureshwaracharya says, no, anybody who has adhikara for Agni Karma, even Kshatriya Vaishya also can take sannyasa. So I think in this there is a slight difference of opinion is there. But here Bhashyakara is clear. He says only Brahmanas can take sannyasa, because the sannyasa grahanam is a very extreme step. Unless you are completely mature and ready for it, it will give you only dukkha. So that is said by Bhagavan again. In the Gita, Bhagavan clearly says, Sanyasastu Mahabaho Dukkham Aptum Ayogataha. So it has to be taken only by the one who wants to simplify one's life, one who is clear about means and ends, and one who is not interested about all those things, one who has overcome some of the natural tendencies, okay, of the body, mind, sense complex. That is very important. So the Brahmanas are the Sattva Guna Pradhana also. That way also we have to see it. And therefore they are only they are only qualified for taking sannyasa, even though the others are also having, they have the Vaidika right to do the karma, correct? They are also mandated to do karma, but they cannot take sannyasa. This is the view of Bhashyakara here. So ataha brahmana grahanam, he says. So brahmananam eva adhikaraha vyuthane. Vyuthane means turning away from karma, giving up karma. For giving up karma, the adhikara is only for brahmanas. Others should keep doing only karma yoga. Okay, at least that's the view of Bhashyakara here. So Vyuthaya means what? Vaiparityena utthanam kritva. So they go in the opposite direction. They go away. From what? Go away from what means what? Kutaha ityaha. From what they are going away? Putraishanayaha. From the desire for children. Putrartha yeshana, putraishana. So the desire with reference to a son is called putraishana. Putrena imam lokam jayeyam iti loka jaya sadhanam putram prati ichha yeshana dara sangraha. So putraishana actually means what? Like even in the Brhadaranyaka itself, it was talked about before, correct? Putrena imam lokam. So this world I will gain by having a son. And son can also do some, on your behalf, the son can do certain rituals. Whatever omissions and commissions you may have done, your son can actually take care of all that and give you a good loka and all that. So putrena ayam lokam or imam lokam jayeyam. Let me win this loka with my putra. Thinking like that, what? So the putra itself now becomes a loka jaya sadhanam. Putra becomes the means for gaining this loka. And then you have an ichha towards putra, and therefore what? You go and marry, you get married. Dara sangraha. You take a wife. So dara sangraham akritva ityarthaha. So, but when you say putraishanayaha, vyuthaya means those who do not take up a wife. Those who are brahmacharis only can become sannyasis directly. But brahmachari sannyasis nowadays is a dangerous thing. Okay, it is better to go through all the ashramas and become sannyasa. You can take sannyasa is the best retirement plan. Even my Pujya Swamiji used to say, my Guruji used to say. So that is the best retirement plan. Otherwise, people are still attached to all the things and you are getting old and then it's all problems. Nowadays, loneliness also is a problem. Children go away. At least in olden days, it was all some or even one generation back, we had joint families. People were together at least. So old people had something to do. Nowadays, either they are babysitting by going to US and all that, or they are here alone. Children have gone somewhere else. So that is all a problem. You don't know what to do. And then they are not, then you have a lot of complaints about your children also. They are not calling me, they are not even wishing me for Deepavali or whatever. All these issues are there, only grief is there in old age. Now you have to mature, go beyond all that, become a vanaprastha. Vanaprasthi means already you are committed to some study of the Shastra and all that. And once you are clear about what the Shastra is saying, then the next natural progression is sannyasa. There is nothing wrong in that. In fact, that is the correct progression. So that's what that is possible. But for the extraordinary people, they can straight away turn away from grihastha itself. That is also there. So here Dara Sangraham Akritva, Bhashyakara says, without taking Dara, a wife, these Brahmanas turn away. Similarly, what they turn away from wealth, Vittaishanayascha. Vitta means wealth. Wealth is what actually? Karma sadhanasya. So wealth is the means for doing karma, correct? Any Vaidika karma, if you want to do, you require wealth. Without having wealth, you cannot do anything. In fact, in those days, the wealth was calculated in terms of how many cows you had and all that, because cows again are integral part of our culture. The cow products only are useful in doing all this Vaidika karma. So gavadehe upadanam. So whatever you get from cow, etc., and they are the means for doing karma, and they are all wealth. And anena karma kritva pitrulokam. Again, why do you have desire towards wealth? You want to do karma. But karma itself is only a means, correct? Karma is a means for what? Means anena karma kritva, having done this karma, pitrulokam jeshyami iti, I will win this pitruloka, I will go to pitruloka, I will enjoy. So that's why karma is important, and karma, and to do karma, again I have desire for vitta. So it is all like a series of desires, one connected with the other. One is the means for the other, another is the means for the other. Finally, the end is I want to go to Pitriloka, let us say. Or you do karma and upasana, vidya sanyuktena va devalokam. So again, the vitta becomes a means for going to Devaloka when you do along with upasana, vidya sanyuktena. Or you do only upasana. Okay, kevalaya va hiranyagarbha vidyaya. So you do this hiranyagarbha upasana, and there also deva daivena vittena devalokam. You gain daiva vitta just by doing you don't require, you don't have any material wealth, so you cannot do any Vaidika karma as it is physically, but you do only upasana, and by that also you gain daiva vitta, means punya here, and with that punya again you can go to Devaloka. So again, going to this Hiranyagarbha Loka is the maximum you can do with karma and upasana, correct? And in fact, the others, some others, they also talk about, all the Dvaitis also talk about sannyasa, correct? But for them, the final goal of sannyasa is to going to this loka only, going to some loka, whether it is Vaikunta or Kailasha or whatever, Golok Vrindavan, whatever name you may give, or you just say Brahma Loka. So they all say what? This Daiva Vitta is the reason for which you give up and take sannyasa. So even after taking sannyasa, in fact, some of them do not allow you to give up any karma at all. Even after you take sannyasa also, certain karma you have to keep doing, because they are all talking about jnana karma samuchaya. So even after having jnanam, you have to do karma. Like that also they have a certain view. So this Daiva Vitta, for the purpose of Daiva Vitta, for gaining this divine wealth or punya only, you give up all this other icha and only go for that. That's how the explanation is given by the other acharyas. So Bhashyakara takes up that here. He says, Daivad Vittat Vyuthanameva Nasti iti Kechit. So from the Daiva Vitta, you cannot turn away, you cannot give it up. That is not at all there. Some people say that. Why? Because they say that Yasmat Tadbalena hi kila Vyuthanam iti. So for the purpose of gaining the Daiva Vitta and going to Hiranyagarbha Loka or Brahma Loka only, you give up all other things and only focus on that. So for the purpose of gaining Daiva Vitta only, you give up other things. Okay, in that, so that is the strength based on which you are able to give up other things, like that they say. But that is not true. Tad asat, Bhashyakara clearly, that's not true. That is asat. Why? Because Brhadaranyaka itself has already said here, we have seen that, correct? 1417. After the Avidya Sutram, it talks about all these things. And it says, Etavan vai kamaha. So the desires are only up to this point. In that it has included the Daiva Vitta also. It has included going to Hiranyagarbha Loka, etc. So Bhashyakara points out that. So iti patitatva yeshanam yeshana madhye daivasya vittasya. So daivasya vitta has been talked about as one amongst the, or it is within the yeshana only, all the desires only. It is also talked about as one of the desires, and therefore it cannot be said that you cannot turn away, go away from the Daiva Vitta. It is also yeshana only. And also Hiranyagarbhadi Devata Vishaya Eva Vidya Vittamiti Uchyate. So the Vidya or the Upasana with reference to the Hiranyagarbha and with reference to other Devatas also, Prana and all that we talked, correct? So that Vidya, the Upasana you do, and that alone is the Daiva Vitta, correct? That is what is called Daiva Vitta. Why? Because Bhashyakara says Devaloka Hetutvat. Because it helps you to go to Devaloka. So that is the punya utkrishtam. There's a lot of punya by doing all that upasana, and that is what is called Daiva Vitta, because it takes you into the Devaloka. But that is not the ultimate, correct? But that is not the moksha we are talking about. So he says, Nahi nirupadika prajnana ghana vishaya brahma vidya devaloka prapti hetuhu. So the nirupadika prajnana ghana vishayam, this Brahman, which is free from all upadhis, which is one homogeneous consciousness, correct? And that Brahma Vidya is the one which is teaching you, which is having that Brahman as the subject matter. That is not by gaining this Brahma Vidya, you are not going to go to any loka. It is not Devaloka Prapti Hetu. It is not going to take you to any Devaloka or anything. So this Brahma Vidya is not included in the Daiva Vittam. The Daiva Vittam is included in the Yeshana Traya, in the Yeshana as a desire, and it has to be turned away from. But Brahma Vidya is not part of the Daiva Vitta. Also, Bhashyakara is pointing out here, because then they will say that no, you turn away from Brahma Vidya also. So that should not be the thing. So he is pointing out that here. Therefore, what? Tasmat tat sarvam abhavat. So only by knowing this Brahman, 1:4:10. Aham Brahmasmiti. Okay, Brahman knew itself as Aham Brahmasmi, and then what? Then it became everything. Tasmat tat sarvam abhavat. Then Atma hi esham sabhavati. 1:4:1. So all these things are there. The Atma alone became all these things. Therefore, based on all these Shrutis, Brahma Vidya is different from Daiva Vitta, and Brahma Vidya alone is going to give you moksha, which is in the form of becoming everything or becoming the Atma of everything. So that is different. You can, in fact, with the strength of or for the purpose of Brahma Vidya, and also the strength you have gained by having this Brahma Vidya only, you can give up everything else. So the bala is there. So Bhashyakara points out here the same thing. Tad balena hi vyutthanam. So the Brahma Vidya balam, not the Daiva Vitta balam. Brahma Vidya bala is the one based on which you can give up everything else, because other things do not matter to you anymore. Okay. So, and he explains that further. Etam vaitam atmanam viditva. Also in the same vakya, also it is there. In the same vakya, they are not talking about any Daiva Vitta, correct? How are these Brahmanas giving up? Etam vaitam atmanam viditva, only it is starting. By knowing this Brahman as one's own Atma only, you are starting to give up all these things. That is also said here itself. So based on all these things, it is very clear. Iti Vishesha Vachana. So this Vishesha Vachana is there. Especially this Vakya itself is also saying this. So the Brahma Vidya Bala is the only strength needed. So that based on that only you can give up everything else. They are all no more relevant to you as a mumukshu, as a jijnasu, also as a jnani. Also here we have to say those who are taking sannyasa should already have certain jnanam. Only for the jnana nishtha purpose, and also to simplify your own life, you can take sannyasa. So tasmat tribhyaha api etebhyaha anatma loka prapti sadhanebhyaha yeshana vishayebhyaha vyuttaya. So having given up all these three things, therefore what? They are all anatma loka prapti sadhana. You are going to some loka, but that loka and all is not your atma, correct? We are only talking about the atma loka. Atma itself is loka, gaining oneself, the reality of oneself. Seeing the reality of oneself is the loka here. But these three things are sadhana for means to go to some anatma loka, which is not oneself. And they are all the vishaya for yeshana, the desires, your desires, giving up all that. And these yeshanas are nothing but desires, correct? Yeshana kamaha, yetavan vai kamaha. Again, it was already said, iti shrutehe, yetasmin vividhe, anatma loka prapti sadhane, trishnam akritva ityarthaha. So means finally what he summarizes. What do you mean by vyuthaya? Means you do not have any trishna, you do not long for all this going to different lokas, or even the only if you have a longing to go to these all these lokas, you will also be interested in the sadhana, the means for that. You are neither interested in the means nor in the ends. You have no longing for all that. Okay, Krishnam akritva, you do not have any longing to all these different things. There are so many things. Once you are interested in sadhana sadhya, means there are so many sadhanas and sadhyas. It is never ending. But for the mumukshu, there is only one thing you need, correct? Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kurunandana. This also in Gita, Bhagavan says beautifully. Bahushakha hi anantascha buddhayo avyavasayinam. Those who do not have discriminatory knowledge, Vyavasayatmika buddhi he calls. And those who have the Vyavasayatmika buddhi, for them there is only one pursuit, which is moksha. For others, there are n number of pursuits, it's never ending. Therefore, what? Sarva hi sadhana ichha, phala ichha eva. So all the desires for means, like even putra or vitta, etc., really desire for some loka, some end only, correct? So sadhana ichha is nothing but phala ichha, he says Bhashyakara. And therefore what? Ataha vyachaste shrutihi ekaiva yeshana iti. So yeshana vyuttaya, it is there, correct? So lokeshanayasta vyuttaya means basically Shruti is pointing out, later on it is going to point out ubhe hi ete yeshane, like that. There are only two yeshanas. Okay, so so how do you say there are only two desires? Means one is desire for sadhana, another is desire for sadhya. So basically all your desires you categorize under either means or ends. And here in fact Bhashyakara will point out here the putra and vitta are all means, and loka yeshana is the end yeshana. Both are anyway shown here, but then three of them are talked about, but finally they are categorized into two only, and then it is called as ube yeshane, like that in dual case. So sarva hi sadhana ichha phala ichha eva ataha vyachaste shruti ekaiva yeshane iti katham. So how can it say only one yeshana? Means yahi eva putra yeshana sa vitta yeshana drishta phala sadhanatva tulyatvat. Okay, later on Shruti is now saying here, if you go to the Shruti Vakya, Bhikshacharyam charanti vyuttaya, yahi eva putraishana sa vittaishana. So the putraishana is the really vittaishana, means what? Both are drishtayeshana, he says. Whatever you can, they are desire for something which you can see, which you can experience directly. And loka yeshana is different because it is, you cannot see it, correct? Loka yeshana is actually, lokas are all paroksha. So putra yeshana is vitta yeshana, but the putra and vitta only is going to give you loka. So they are the sadhana for the loka, which is the sadhya. So ya vitta yeshana sa loka yeshana. That's why it is said like that, because palartha eva sa. So the putra yeshana and vitta yeshana are only for the purpose of going to loka. So loka is the phala. Therefore, what? Sarvaha palartha prayuktaha evahi sarvam sadhanam upadatte. So all the means, why do we even go after the means? Why do we get all these means? Because we want to get the end, the phalam. Okay, for that purpose only we engage in activities to gain the means, and through the means again we have to gain the certain end. Therefore, so this only one yeshana is there, and but then the Shruti again, all yeshana is really for the end, but then Shruti is categorizing it into means and ends. We will see all these things next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.